name's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. I recently did a video where I let TikTok pick 5 books for me to read, and that video had some mixed results. God, I fucking hate this book. I hated it. So I've been wanting to do another challenge video, but this time I decided to maybe stack the deck a little bit more in my favor. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to let my husband pick 5 books for me to read, but he's going to be picking them from books that I have already purchased for myself. So theoretically, these are all books that I would have read on my own anyway, and I'm just going to see which ones he would pick and choose for me to read. In case you're thinking to yourself, that is a lot of books for someone to have purchased and not yet read, you are not wrong. You honestly, it doesn't even show how far down these go. There's a lot of books here. I've got a problem. So that's another thing this video is going to help me with, is actually to read some of these many physical copies of books that I have purchased for myself but have not yet read. Alright, so I think that's it, so might as well call him in here. Oh, Justin!
Hello.
Alright, in case there's anybody watching that does not know, this is my husband, Justin.
Hi.
He does not like to read. He does not. So none of these picks are going to be books that he has read himself and enjoyed reading. I'm not sure what he's going to pick based on. I have some predictions. I predict that you're going to knock over at least one of these book towers. And I also, my other prediction is that you're going to be kind of lazy and not dig to the bottom. So I'm going to be watching you. So.
Okay.
How many stacks did you knock over?
Maybe some of them. Like one.
Alright. One or two. Alright, what'd you pick?
Well, the first one I picked was 100 Days of Cake.
Okay.
I enjoy cake, and I thought you might like to read a book about cake.
This is exactly the type of high quality recommendations I expected from my husband. So, alright, I've had this one for a while, so it's good for me to be getting to it. This is a YA book about a high school senior. Yeah, I don't know what else is going on. Maybe something about a diner, which could be good because I like that book Hope Was Here, and that's all about a diner. So, alright, 100 Days of Cake. First book.
Okay. The second book I picked for you is Just Mercy, because we had watched the movie together. I thought maybe you would enjoy the book.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. So I bought this one and I had every intention of reading this right away, and then we watched the movie. So I was like, oh yeah, I know what happens. I don't need to read that right away. So no, I'm glad. This is one I've been meaning to read for a while. I think this is a really important book, and from the movie anyway, is about a man who is on death row for a crime that he did not commit, and a lawyer that is trying to get him off of death row. And it was a really moving movie. We both liked it a lot. So, second book, Just Mercy.
I believe it had Jamie Foxx and
yes, it
Michael
B. Jordan. Yeah, yeah, Michael B. Jordan. It was a good movie.
The third book I picked is The Wife, mainly for the title.
You picked it because I'm your wife.
Yeah. I thought you might enjoy that.
I mean, that's a solid reason as well. I don't know about this, but this is a mystery thriller. So I've been very into mystery thrillers lately, so I'll probably enjoy this. Thank you for that pick.
The fourth book I picked was this big book titled Runaway. I enjoy running, and on the cover there's some people that look like they're running. So I thought I looked at the back and there was no real synopsis or anything, so I thought you might enjoy this.
I just bought this one. So I believe this is actually a mystery thriller. I've never read this author before, but he wrote the book that TV show we watched on Netflix that we liked a lot was based on. What was it? The Stranger.
Oh.
He wrote the book The Stranger that Netflix then made that TV series on. So that's why I bought this, because I really liked
that might be interesting.
series. So
lucky you.
Yeah. Yeah, he writes mystery thrillers. So okay, Harlan Coben, Runaway. And then what's our last one?
Our last one I picked for you is Slayer. I was looking at it. It looked like it might be some sort of fantasy one, but then I noticed it said from the world of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I know you're a big fan of Buffy. And it's got a cool kind of purplish cover, and it looks pretty cool.
This is good. I've had this one a long time too, so I don't know what the specific plot of this is, but this is like a novelization of something from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't think it's actually about Buffy, but
I read the back. I think maybe it's a different Slayer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about two girls that are twin sisters, and their mother is a member of the Watchers Council, and then one of them becomes a Slayer, but it says she's like the last Slayer. I'm not sure how that fits in with how...
Maybe there's twin Slayers.
Maybe. All right, so Slayer, book number 5. I actually thought you were going to pick this. I was pretty sure about that because we watched the movie together.
Yeah.
So the other ones are kind of surprising. He likes cake. Thank you, my Justin.
You're welcome.
Hello, coming to you today from my kitchen. Ta-da! I have made it through 3 of the books that my husband picked for me before I got around to filming this. Okay, that's a lie. Actually, I did film a video talking about 2 of them, but I did it at night and the lighting was so terrible that my eyes were like shadowed little dark holes, and I thought I might be able to clear it up a little bit, like brighten things. It did not help. So that footage is garbage. We're gonna redo it. So, first book I read was Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. Justin picked this because he and I watched the movie together. The movie's very good. The book's also very good. I would still recommend reading this book if you've already seen the movie though, because it does add a lot. The movie really just focuses on Walter Macmillan's story. The book goes much more into the other work that Bryan Stevenson has also done. So even though like the main kind of plot focus is the case he did when he was a young lawyer where he got Walter Macmillan out of prison. Walter was on death row for a murder he did not commit. Bryan Stevenson has done a lot of stuff, and he has been working with people on death row for his entire career, and he's taken cases all the way to Supreme Court. He's done a lot, and this book goes into that way more in depth than the movie did. This book was a 5-star winner, all around fantastic. The information is very interesting, very important, that stuff everybody should read, really. No matter what your feelings are on the death penalty or the penal system, prisons, that type of thing, read this book. It's not just informative and educational, it's also really well written. It's good to read. I like reading it. If I had to sum up this book, I would go with the quote by Bryan Stevenson from the introduction, which says, "Each of us is more than the worst thing we've ever done." Like, I was reading this book in the introduction, and I hit that quote, and I was like, ooh, damn, that's a good one. I've been back and forth over the death penalty for a long time. I've been against it for a while, but like, at the same time, it's not like I'm shedding any tears over Ted Bundy, and it's complicated. I understand it's complicated. It's complicated for me and how I feel about it, so I understand how it's complicated for other people. This book makes a very compelling argument for why we don't need that in our society. And it really asks the question, like, what are we doing to ourselves by killing these people? You know, let's just not even just look at what we're doing to them and whether or not they deserve it. Let's push all that aside. But what is it doing to our society that this is what we want to do? Is it truly justice? Is it just a life for a life? Is that really justice? I love this book, and I would recommend it to anybody. Even if you've seen the movie, this will give you more. Even if you feel like you're already pretty firm on how you feel about the death penalty, either way, read this book. It's really good. 5 stars. Good pick, Justin. And then I also read 100 Days of Cake, which I completely was wrong about what that book was actually about. And like right on the back, I realized after I started reading it that it does actually say like this book is about depression. And I somehow missed that when I was talking about what it was in the earlier clip. This is about a girl who is a teen girl and she's suffering from depression, and it's become pretty bad, like it's interfering with her life pretty bad. And the whole 100 Days of Cake thing isn't that she like works at a diner or whatever, it's that her mother is on this like quest from like a self-help book kind of thing where she decides she's gonna bake a cake every day for 100 days. She like tries to get her daughter to do it with her. It's not like a major part of the book, but it's like all the chapter headings are like the different types of cake the mom's baking. So it's kind of cute, just a little like thread throughout the book. But there's like no diner. She doesn't work at a diner. The book said the word diner on the back, and I was like, oh, it's a girl that works at a diner with cake, and that's not it. I started off thinking this read was gonna be 5 stars, and then there was like a big incident in it that kind of like dropped it down to 4 stars for me. Since I finished it and finished rating it, is that even 4 stars? Do I feel comfortable calling it 4 stars with what happened in this book? I don't know that I do. So it really might be 3 stars. I don't know. I liked the writing. I really liked the depiction of depression, and I feel like it focused on some of the not so well-known aspects of depression. And I really thought it was going to be a good book for like teens with depression. And then something happened in the book, and it's just, I can't justify giving this book to a teen with the message that I think this incident sends. I went on Goodreads to read other people's reviews after, because I was like, am I the only one that felt this way? And it was mentioned in almost every single review. So it's questionable all around. I don't know how it got past editing. Basically, an adult does something very bad in this book, and the main character chooses to keep it a secret, and the adult has no consequences from this. And the main character, Molly, she's just kind of like, okay, I guess that's resolved then. This is a potentially dangerous adult that could go on to do things to other teens. The fact that the resolution of the book is kind of implying that like, well, it's just okay that because he moved away and Molly won't have to see him again, so it's not a problem anymore. Like, as an adult reading it, you can be like, well, I guess that might be what would actually happen from something like this, honestly. Like, that's not an unrealistic depiction, but given that this is a young adult book and this is written for teens, I feel like a young impressionable teenager could read this book and be like, oh, that's just, yeah, that's the right punishment for that crime. And this is very questionable in my opinion. Like, I don't think that it's realistic that everyone in books should have to get the exact moral comeuppance for what they have done. But in a teen book especially, a teen keeping a secret of something an adult has done to them, it's upsetting because it was kind of like that's not the only thing that happens in this book. There's a lot else in this book, and there's a lot of stuff I did like, and I liked the writing, and I just am really uncomfortable with that aspect of it. And I don't want to give it away, but like, if you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. If not, read it and let me know if you agree with me or not. And then I also read the Runaway book by Harlan Coben. So I'd never read any Harlan Coben before. I know he's a pretty prolific kind of mystery thriller writer, and I had watched a TV series on Netflix called The Stranger that was based on one of his books, and I can definitely see like themes and plot points from The Stranger that kind of happened in this book, like things that I assume are Harlan Coben things. Like, he's not afraid to kill off some main characters. He is not. He's not afraid to have some dark shit going on. And it's just very, like, it's very well plotted. Like, everything ties up neatly, which I like. Very fast paced, keeps you going, makes you want to binge read the whole thing. Liked it quite a bit, 4 stars. It's missing like that something that really makes me like love like Ruth Ware or Riley Sager. Like, it's just missing that little extra thing that really would have made me love it. But it was very entertaining. Like, it was one of those ones where I kind of stayed up late reading it because I really wanted to see how it all ended. I like it when everything ties up neatly and all the little mysteries are solved and everything comes together and makes sense. I like that. And this book did that. Again, ending dark, but I did really like it, and I will read more from this author, and I would watch more TV shows based on books written by this author because I think it all worked really well. I have started the Slayer book so far. That one, it's kind of not what I expected, so I'll let you know when I get farther into that. But so far, my husband did pretty good. Like, to be fair, I purchased these books for myself, so he kind of had a good head start. But compared to that TikTok challenge, we're doing real good. Real good. So I'll let you know how we finish out. All right, I did it. I finished the last 2 books. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I finished them weeks ago, and I have just been in this like terrible winter funk where I could not get myself in front of a camera. I could not get the motivation to do my makeup and put myself in front of a camera. So it's been a few weeks. I've actually loaned 2 of the books to one of my friends, and I only have 3 of them, but I do have the last 2 that I wanted to talk about. So this is the remainder of the stack. The next book that I read was Slayer. So this is a book that takes place within the Buffy the Vampire Slayer universe. It is actually a duology. So this is book 1, and there is a second book that continues the story of the girl in this book. And I liked it. But it could have been better. I have some suggestions. My main problem with this book is I just don't know who it was written for. I had assumed this book would take place after the end of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer's TV show. And I assume this because like that would be a really good place for, I think, the barrier to entry for a book series like this to be, because it's very easy to watch the TV show nowadays. It's available on, I think it's Hulu, the entire series. It used to be Netflix, but I think it's still on Hulu. You could also buy an entire box set of the DVDs for like $100 if you catch it on a good day and get the deal. Might be even cheaper. But that's not where this takes place. This takes place after the events of season 8 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is the comic book series. I feel like this is really only written for kind of a Buffy super fan such as myself, because less people have read the comics. I don't remember the exact timeline, so it's possible the author did not realize this. She definitely didn't know it when she was writing the books, but when it was published, I'm pretty sure that would have been after the fact, where the comic book series ended and was revamped, which makes these big books that exist. I actually have them, I'll show you. So this is Buffy the Vampire Season 8, Volume 1. There are 4 of these. So in order to really be like fully in this book, you will have not only needed to watch the TV show, but you would have had to work your way through 4 of these massive sized Buffy the Vampire Slayer comic things. I guess, again, the barrier to entry still would have been pretty low back before these went out of print, but now that they're out of print, these are quite expensive and you have to buy them off eBay, and it seems like this was written for a super fan. And I don't hate that. I don't hate that they chose to write it for someone that has watched the TV series and read the comic book series. I'm okay with that decision, but I don't understand the decision to make it YA in those circumstances. And it's not just that this book is YA. This book is very YA. Almost like a younger YA in the way the teenagers talk to each other and act. I'm going to assume most of the super fans are probably at least my age, if not maybe older. I think I was 13 or 14 when the TV show, 2003, so yeah, I would have been 14 when the TV show ended. Most of the Buffy super fans are not going to be wanting to read a YA book, or at least not one that is so YA. This is just very, very YA. Every YA trope you could imagine in the language, and it's written for teenagers. So it's not terrible, but I would have preferred it to be an adult novel. Just more mature writing would have been appreciated. With all that being said, it's a pretty solid book, but it could have been better. I do plan on getting the second one. I want to continue. I want to finish the duology. This could have been done better. It just could have. Like, even if you were going to make it YA, like, you still could have made a more mature story than this in a YA novel. But this is about, if you're familiar with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the girl that becomes a Slayer in this book is the daughter of Buffy's first watcher from the movie that came before the series. So again, you kind of got to be like a pretty big fan to catch all. There's so many references in here. I'm sure I didn't even catch half of them. The author on her website says you don't need to be a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan to read this book. And while that may be true, I just don't think you would get that much out of it if you're not. So if you're a Buffy fan, it's pretty good. But there was just such an opportunity for it to be better. I gave it a 3 stars. But keep in mind, I don't think that anyone who is not a Buffy fan would appreciate this. So, and then The last book I read was The Wife. I think I gave this 3 stars as well. This is a mystery thriller. It's okay. It really is. But it's just overdone. And I'm gonna say something else too. If you put on the front of the cover that it is this year's Gone Girl, anyone who has read Gone Girl, which anyone that's reading this book probably has read Gone Girl, is gonna have some specific ideas about where this story is going, and whether you go that exact direction or not, that's what they're going to be looking for, and it kind of ruins the reading experience. So this is about a woman who, her husband is this successful kind of like TV personality. He's I think he was an economics professor, and he's this big TV personality. He goes on like all the TV shows to talk about economics, and he has this like business, and he also teaches at NYU, and she has something dark in her past. All of a sudden, these allegations about sexual abuse and rape start coming out against her husband, and then one of the victims disappears. It's kind of like the perspective of the wife, where she doesn't necessarily know what he's done. I can say it did have some really good insight into how these spouses can end up defending their spouse when it seems clear that the spouse has done something unthinkable. It's pretty deep commentary on that and about kind of like marriage in general. There were several twists that I did not see coming, so I give it some good stars on that, but I just feel like this book or versions of it have been written a few times, so it's okay. It was a good read. It was fine. There's just a lot of books I'd probably recommend before this one, so 3 stars. If it's sitting next to you, go ahead and read it. It's just fine. It's fine. So of the 5 books, my favorite was definitely Just Mercy. That one is amazing. Everybody should read that book. I stand by that. Followed by the Harlan Coben. That was just a really good, fast-paced thriller. If you're looking for like an easy-to-read book, maybe you want to get back into reading, or maybe you just want something to like take on an airplane, and something with short chapters that you can stop and start again quickly or easily. It's a good book. I liked it quite a bit. I have officially downgraded 100 Days of Cake from 4 stars to 3 stars. It doesn't sit with me well. I loaned it to one of my friends, so I want to see if she agrees with me or not, but it seems like most of Goodreads did. So it had some good discussions about depression, about teen depression specifically, and I just wish it wouldn't have made itself a book that you like can't really recommend to a teen with depression. So that one's probably the bottom. And then Slayer and The Wife, I'd probably rate The Wife a little bit higher just because like more people would enjoy it, I think. But I think me personally, I probably enjoyed Slayer a little bit more just because there's not much out there like it. It made frustrating choices in how that story was told. So overall though, this went so much better than TikTok. I've got a couple other challenges in mind to try and get through some of this stack. So keep your eyes out for those videos. If there's any books in particular you'd like to see me read and talk about it, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time.